So yesterday was officially the last day of the Democratic Convention and a new era in American politics because for many liberals, today is Dump Dems Day. And I am proud to announce that I am a proud independent voter and I don't need no party. So the Democratic Party needs to realize that we tried to affect change from within the party and you didn't want that. You pushed us away. So now we're going to try to work from outside the party to affect change and get progressive policies implemented. Now, here's the thing about the convention itself. I'm not going to talk too much about that because I think that what's really important is the story that the mainstream media doesn't want to tell you, that there were many protests and the DNC tried to silence Bernie delegates, and the extent to which they mistreated Bernie delegates makes party unity a complete pipe dream at this point. Now, getting to the actual speech, which I think is an important part where Hillary Clinton accepted the Democratic nomination, I think it was a good speech overall, even though Bill Clinton disagrees with me.
We will disrupt their efforts online to reach and radicalize young people in our country. It won't be easy or quick. But
even though it was a good speech, and I thought that it was substantive, and I commend her for trying to make an appeal to Bernie supporters, the problem is that we don't believe a word she's saying. So you can promise us a rose garden, but the problem is we don't believe you, Hillary Clinton, and you've done any and everything imaginable to make it so that way we don't believe you. So there are several events that I wanted to talk about of the DNC trying to stifle the protest. So members of the Democratic Party are trying desperately to get across the image that, you know, there is party unity and that there is, quote, excitement across the country that's electric, because we're all ready to just sit around a campfire and sing Kumbaya, right? Not at all. So there were many protests, and the DNC tried to shut those down at every chance they got. So first, US Uncut explains that California delegate Eden McFadden, a Sanders backer from Los Angeles, is claiming in a video that Sanders delegates are being denied seating, while seat fillers who lack proper credentials to be on the convention floor are sitting there instead. She also shows innocuous gray boxes placed strategically above each state's delegation that broadcast white noise to drown out the sound from any protest that may occur. Additionally, McFadden says Clinton delegates have consistently been granted access to the convention hall before Sanders delegates, allowing them to sit at the front of the delegation and use their position to block media cameras from showing protesting delegates behind them.
Hey guys, this is Eden here. I finally got into the convention. We're in the California section. Apparently they've been letting everybody, all the other states in, and then they weren't letting in the California station. I'm going to turn around and let you see what it looked like when I got in. They said they But when I got in, all these people were here, and they have already blocked off all of these sections where the Bernie Sanders supporters have been sitting, putting reserve signs on all of these seats where we can't sit. And if you look up here at this gray box, that is a white noise machine used to block out our chants and cheers. So share this video. The California Bernie Sanders delegates have been held outside their entrance for longer than every other state, and they've blocked off all of the seats with reserve signs for seat fillers or scabs, and they've placed a white noise machine above our section.
Now, this was a strategy that the DNC employed to silence the booers because how dare they be angry that the entire Democratic primary was rigged, right? Now, this wasn't just true for Californian delegates, but delegates from New York, Oregon, Washington State. Basically, any group that would be the most vocal, well, they tried to shut down their protest. So another strategy that they used to silence Bernie delegates was shutting off the lights above them. During former Defense Secretary and fellow warmonger Leon Panetta's speech, Bernie delegates from Oregon chanted "No more war," and the lights above them were turned off. So they turned on their phone flashlights to get attention instead. Now, according to Oregon Live, California Bernie delegates teamed up with Oregon Bernie delegates to shine their phone lights on Oregon and chanted lights in order to get them to acknowledge that the lights need to be turned back on. Now, there were also many times when Bernie delegates staged a walkout during certain speeches. So they staged a walkout during President Obama's speech because they wanted to protest the TPP. And they also staged a protest during Hillary Clinton's acceptance speech. And also many Bernie delegates were holding up their own protest signs, and Hillary delegates were putting their signs up in front of them to block them out. And a crowd of about 100 people also staged a large sit-in in the media tent, and many of them wore tape over their mouths to symbolize the way that they were being silenced throughout the election and the convention. And then there were also protests of about 5,000 people, according to Benjamin Dixon, outside of the convention on the second night, and they put up a big fence to block them from getting too close to the convention and declared it a, quote, free speech zone. Because yes, when you live in a democracy, the whole thing isn't a free speech zone. There are specific zones you have to go in to state your grievances that you have with the political process. So this is absolutely just frustrating, and there were multiple people that were arrested for crossing the boundary. And even though they were peaceful and singing, "We shall overcome," well, they brought out some riot police. I'm not kidding. This is on a report from Benjamin Dixon. You could find that on his channel. They brought out riot police for no reason, seemingly. I mean, maybe they wanted to either intimidate the protesters or get a good media headline, but they brought out some riot police nonetheless for reasons that we don't necessarily know. Now, what was covered by the mainstream media, you ask? Well, they showed you how the protesters were, quote, being destructive, because there is one video of them burning a flag, because how dare they exercise their free speech rights by burning a piece of material? Give me a break. So it was very peaceful. The presence of riot police doesn't say anything about the protesters. It says the image that the DNC wants to communicate to the protesters, that fall in line, stand down, you are not allowed to voice your discontent with the DNC convention or any Democrats. Now, finally, the biggest slap in the face came in the form of them removing Nina Turner, who is a very popular Bernie delegate who we all want to see become president someday. They just removed her speech entirely. And this may be because Nina Turner has not agreed to endorse Hillary Clinton. She said that she's not ready to do that yet. So I don't know why they did this. So this is me speculating when I say it's because she didn't endorse Hillary Clinton formally. But if you really are going to have the nerve to call for party unity and then remove one of the most popular pro-Bernie delegates, what do you expect is going to happen? Do you think they're going to just roll over and accept Hillary Clinton after you rigged the primary process for them and not even be angry? No, they're going to get more pissed, if anything. So how could you do that? So, I mean, in the end, this was a convention that, while better than the Republicans, at face value, when you really dive into it and you look at the protests and when you look at how Bernie delegates were treated, well, I have to wonder, how do they expect us to fall in line? How do they expect us to unite behind Hillary Clinton after the process was rigged, after we were treated so poorly? I mean, what are you expecting? I just don't get it. And the level to which they lack self-awareness is honestly puzzling to me, because I just don't understand how you can do everything you can to push voters away from the Democratic Party. Hence the reason for Dump Dems Day and Dem Exit. Because we would work within the party, because that's the easiest way to get political change. But you've done everything to push us away. Hillary Clinton could have chosen Elizabeth Warren and she picked Tim Kaine instead. So I don't know what you want from us. You're going to complain when we gravitate towards Jill Stein, but yet you're going to push us away and get mad when we go away. You can't have your cake and eat it too. What's it going to be, Democrats? Are you going to be for progressives or not? We know that you corporatist Democrats hate us progressives, and that's fine. The feeling is mutual. But just know that you're not going to get us to rally behind Hillary if you keep acting like this. And guess what? You are going to hand this election to Donald Trump, not because we're not going to support Hillary Clinton, but because of your tactics that are incredibly shady, corrupt, and outright immoral.